everybody, it's Dr. Lori. How are you doing? This is Ask Dr. Lori. I'm going to answer your questions. I'll answer whatever questions you want. They can be personal. They can be about art, antiques, whatever it is. We've had a lot of course, comments. I want you to write those questions into the comments, whatever you have. Make sure the questions have to do with, of course, something that everybody might want to know, not some specific thing that's only going to be important to you, but I will answer any of those questions. I want to remind you to sign up for the newsletter. I have heard comments about the newsletter. Well, we hear all the time that you're talking about the newsletter. Oh, you don't have to keep talking about the newsletter. Guess what? Sometimes there are new people who are coming into the channel, who are just finding the channel, who don't know that they should sign up to the newsletter. So I'm trying to remind them as well. I want to, of course, remind both our seasoned, right, our established fans, as well as anybody who's new to sign up for the newsletter at drloriv.com. It is free and we will send it to you. It's very easy to do. We want to help everybody if we can. So welcome to all of our new fans. It's good to have all of you here. So I've been hearing a lot of comments and I want to talk about them as well. I want, of course, to get your questions. So type those questions in. I'm excited about them. I'm glad that you folks are enjoying the information, and I really need you to watch the videos, right? Oh, you know, I'm not crazy about glass. You know what? Click on it and watch the glass video anyway. Just take a look at it. Even just click on it. You might learn something new that you like. You might actually find something, and you'll help me by watching those other videos that maybe you're passing by. The binge link will help you to do that too. But so I'm happy for your questions. I'm always happy to do a Q&A with you guys. So thanks for being with me. And again, I had a very, very busy day. It was really busy. It was a lot of fun. Video calls was part of my day today. And there are some great pieces. There was a very, very valuable painting in one of my video callers that was sent in, an American painting from the Boston area, which was really quite fun. So anyway, let's talk about this. Tony's here. Hi, Tony. I have Confederate States of America $20 bill with an appraisal from Antiquities. I don't know what that is. Is this a scam or real? Well, let me ask you this. Why are you asking anybody else for appraisals? That's first. And second of all, in terms of it, yeah, the Confederate States of America $20 bill, in fact, and currency in general from the Confederate States, there were different currencies from the different Confederate states. So Virginia had a currency, Richmond had a currency, Virginia had a currency. You'll also see currencies from many of the other Confederate states. Now, it is important that you have the values on these, and they do fluctuate somewhat. I had the good fortune of appraising a full set of those, which is rather rare to have. But in fact, I don't know if you're asking whether or not the dollar bill is a scam or whether the antiquities appraisal is a scam. I don't know who those people are, so I have no idea. Is pottery going down in value? Well, you know, this is the generalization kind of thing, right? Some of our ceramics and pottery pieces are actually seeing a bump in the road, along with a lot of other items right now. But pottery usually holds its value pretty well, depending on what you have. Like if you have a nice piece of Moorcroft, well, you know, no, that's not going down in value. If you have a piece of studio art pottery by an up-and-coming studio art potter, well, that particular piece is probably going to hold its value pretty well, but it might take a little bump in the road because of what the economy is doing right now. So you're going to see back and forth. I have heard from a lot of you who are reselling or are selling, even just your first time selling or selling many pieces, whether it's pottery or other things, that you're seeing a little bit of a slowdown. That's not unusual in October. And it's also not unusual with the kind of economic environment we have. However, I will say these things are going to move forward. Thank you, Rose, for the super sticker. I appreciate the support and I need the support. So I appreciate you helping out in any way that you folks can. If the channel helps you and you've been able to be successful, or you've just been able to have some fun because you're watching the channel, then I appreciate anytime you show your appreciation. Any way that you do that, that's great. I want to remind you what's in the newsletter. What's in the newsletter are things like when I'm teaching my classes, information in the newsletter like what will help you. A lot of you like to play along with what's the most valuable in the newsletter. But the newsletter, of course, we'll talk about classes that are coming up. My next classes coming up are about how to sell your stuff. So I hope you will participate in those or consider them for a later one. Yeah, thank you. Red. The lady in red, my mom used to say. But red for today. It was kind of hard to match the lipstick, I got to tell you. I had to kind of go through all the lipsticks because I like purple. So I usually have purple lipsticks. So I had to go through all the purple lipsticks to do that. Steph, thank you very much for the super chats, super stickers, and they are open, and we appreciate your support. You support all of us when you do that. And I do think it's important to thank everybody. And I also think it's important when you guys actually are trying to show me that you help. So Sylvia, I appreciate that too. And what Sylvia and Tanya and the rest of you are doing are you're actually helping everybody, the whole community. So when somebody gives a super sticker or a super thanks or a super chat, or they go to my website, the tip jar, and they say, I want to do that. Thank you, Elizabeth. You're helping everybody else who's also learning from this particular channel. And I want that to continue as best we can. I want to be able to do that. What's my favorite thing or things to collect? Sunshine. That's hard. I mean, I got to say that's hard. I get excited when I see a piece of gold jewelry, costume or real. I like that. I love anything that is in the form of a fish. I like beads. This is going to be a long list. I'm going to make it short. American art of the 20th century, I think, is very fascinating. I like watercolors. I love seascapes. I think seascapes are wonderful. I like still lifes too, but I love seascapes very much. Jackie, thank you very much for the super chat and the super sticker. Other things I like to collect. I like small things. Even as a little girl, I used to collect small glass animals and small porcelain animals. I couldn't have animals as a little kid. I still don't have animals. But basically, I did collect animals. I'm not good at naming all the animals. I was noticing that today on the video calls because we have this tiger. And I'm looking at this going, what cat has stripes? And I'm like a leopard, a zebra, a tiger. But we figured it out anyway. Thank you, Ryan. I almost missed my friend Ryan there. And thank you very much for your super chat and super sticker. I love to see these pictures of you with, of course, your family members or your friends or your favorite pet or whatever it might be. But yes, I do love fish and I collect fish. I do like things that make a statement when it comes to collecting. I always love that in museums. I always love that piece that was on that confrontation wall when I was a curator. I love that. Hi, hot mess, Jess. That's great. I'm a new fan, but not a reseller. What's in the newsletter for regular fans who just wanted to learn the best and the most transparent appraiser on YouTube? Well, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. I'll tell you, there's a load in the newsletter for all of you. So you don't have to be a reseller. If you are interested in art, antiques, and collectibles, if you want to learn about what quality looks like, that's what's in the newsletter. And that's what's in the channel. And that's what you can be clicking on when you're looking at all of my videos, because no matter whether you're a reseller or you're just a collector or you just want to learn a little bit more about something different in your life, right? I would say that right here, you're going to learn about quality and how to identify it and some of the great stories and the representations of culture that art and antiques provides. That's basically it. Brandon is right. I do love birdhouses. I forgot about my birdhouses, Brandon. Thank you, my friend. Brandon has been a long-standing supporter of the channel, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments. I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what you're thinking. Yeah, I do like birdhouses, but they have to be unusual, right? So like they have to be birdhouses from certain places and such. You have a Jenny doll, not a Ginny. I don't know. Okay, Steph. So a couple of different things. There are different types of dolls, right? So there is actually a Ginny doll. And there are a couple of different types of dolls from the 1950s that share that name. It's funny with dolls. Dolls will have certain names for different time periods, right? In the 1970s, there were a lot of flopsy dolls, right? Dolls that actually looked like rag dolls from the 1920s, right? About 50 years prior, and they would call them flopsy dolls. So these doll names actually come into widespread use in certain time periods. So yeah, it's usually a Ginny doll. Yep. Nice, Steph. Thank you. Kimberly, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. All of you are helping to grow the channel. You're helping to, of course, help me to maintain and continue to do this. What can I say about Rosenthal espresso cups? I like Rosenthal in general. I like the fact that it's usually hand painted. I like the fact that it usually has some gilt work. I like the fact that Rosenthal has a characteristic high quality level. They like to stay to a high quality. You bought two. However, you only see some designs online, the ones online. Oh, okay. A couple of different things about Rosenthal espresso cups. First of all, remember that demitasse and espresso cups should be smaller than your traditional teacups and smaller than coffee cups. Coffee cups are big, teacups are smaller. Espresso and demitasse I always say demitasse as opposed to demitasse, but demitasse are basically smaller cups as well. You want to make sure that you're getting full sets. If you have an opportunity to buy the even number, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, any even number, you want to make sure you're doing that. Roro, thank you very much. Tamara, thank you very much. I talked to Tamara today on a video call, excuse me. And Trina has been a long-standing supporter too. Many of you are new, and many of you are, of course, have been here for a long time. I had a gentleman who said, Dr. Lori, I've been watching you for years. He goes, years, older than you are, Dr. Lori. I've been watching you. I thought that was funny. Kimberly, thank you very much for your super chats and super stickers. And those of you go, she doesn't have to thank everybody. If you had my mother, you would know that I have to thank everybody because she is watching from above, and I better thank everybody. So yeah. So for those of you who, can't do that, but I hope you will stay tuned and listen to me answer these questions because I can certainly help you a great deal. For my students, folks who are in my class, Kimberlyn, thank you very much. Folks who have been taking my class are saying, I learned so much from this. Now I know where to sell this object that I found at the thrift store, or the object that was handed down from my Aunt Hildegard that I didn't really want, but now I know is actually worth money. Now I know what to do because I took your class and I'm reading your blogs and I've got the newsletter and I have some ideas of what to do. And I know I can ask you. I can ask you here live. I can ask you on the website, right? How do remarks affect value? I'm reading conflicting accounts online. Okay, Mary. So if you have these questions and you have a follow-up question, I want to hear the follow-up question too. So let me see what you mean by this. Like if you want more info on something, then put it in the comments, right? So we're talking about a topic like maybe it's, these sterling silver fish coasters from the 1960s, and you want more information, put it in the comments. Tell me what you are thinking, give me the follow-up. So remarks, a couple of different things when it comes to remarks, and anything that's a reproduction, a restrike, whether it's a sculpture, whether it's a print, whether it is any other type of production that's been a reproduction of something else. Remember, they can hold their value as long as they're high quality. One of the famous restrikes would be those of Frederick Remington. Of course, they're not worth as much as the actual Frederick Remington sculptures of the cowboys, but a restrike of that could be valuable in its own right as long as it's done well, and you could start to tell which are better and which are worse. So you want to think about that. What are the conflicting accounts that you're reading? So this is the other thing, because I can dispel some of the myths if you tell me what you're reading in terms of it. How do they affect value? So does a Frederick Remington restrike sculpture of the very, very famous ones of, like, say, I don't know, any one of the ones of the cowboys, maybe the rattlesnake. That's a very famous Frederick Remington sculpture that has been restruck or reproduced in large numbers. Those particular ones will not impact negatively the value of the original, but the more that they reproduce, right? If there's 100,000 that they've reproduced, each one, anytime you have a lot of the same thing, the value goes down for all of them. Thank you very much. Someone treasures and I missed it. For the super chat and super stickers. Local treasures? Oh, gosh. See, now visually in my mind, it was local treasures. Yeah. See, visually in your mind, you should be able to do that. That's a visual skill. So you're probably saying, gosh, she was able to do that. She can remember. But that came from a visual place in my mind. You're thinking, what do you mean? That's educating the eyeballs, because while I couldn't remember the actual words, I was able to remember the shapes of the letters and then put it together. Your brain is a computer. You can do this. You can learn this. It's about visual skills and identifying visual skills. So I want you to do that. That was a very good example. We got lucky that was a good example. Marie, enjoy your class. I'm so glad, Marie. I'm so glad you enjoyed the class on Tuesday. The classes, of course, we have the classes about selling, part 1 and part 2, and look for it in the event schedule at drloriv.com. It's very easy to find. Just go to events. It's right on that menu at the top. You can see it right there underneath the specials and shop page. You should be looking on the specials and shop page too, because there's a lot of specials and shopping. But the events, and then you'll see the different classes. And class part 1 to how to sell your old stuff for profit, and part 2 are different classes. It's different material. So Gula Bustitabo. Okay, I hope I got that right. But thank you very much for your support, because you are basically helping all of us. You're helping me and you're helping all of us to continue. I want to try to continue the lives. Many of you have made your voices heard, but I'm going to do a special video. I'm going to do a special live stream so we can talk about that, because a lot of you have had a lot of input, and I appreciate the input. A lot of you are offering suggestions. Some of those suggestions, we've been down that road before here, but some of those other suggestions are also helpful, and all of your suggestions are helpful, but I want to know what you think. So I'm going to do a special one to address the issue of course, the lives and what we're doing, what people like and what people don't like. I do appreciate all the positive support. There's been a lot of positive support, and there have been some people who also have not been positive. That's the truth, and I'm always going to tell you the truth. That's the truth. That's fine. Entitled to everybody's opinion, but we have to also, I want to do that special live stream for all the rest, for all of you. Kelly, thank you very much. I picked up a weird signed Mollica Capodimonte statue. Okay, Mollica Capodimonte with a cherub looking at a weird furry rodent looking thing in a tree. Okay. Have I ever seen one like that? Let me tell you, the Capodimonte, and by the way, it's Capodimonte. You are very close. I got to say, one letter off for Capodimonte. You're doing all right. Made in Naples, made famous in Naples, ceramic pieces, oftentimes figural, actually bas relief or embossed pieces of figural, a lot of cherubs, a lot of figures. People are nude, people are, they've got just little heads and wings, some putti, whatever it might be. Oftentimes there are some woodland animals. I'll call your furry rodent a woodland animal. Oftentimes you will have a tree form or a trunk form in order to support the weight of the piece. It's sort of a good device visually to support the weight of a compote, right? Like a standing fruit bowl kind of dish that you'd see a lot of in Capodimonte, or an urn. I don't know what's weird and signed about it, so I'm concerned as to what's weird and signed. But have I seen unusual Capodimonte pieces? Yes, and here's why. There are the traditional Capodimonte pieces, and they're the Capodimonte pieces that are in the style of the traditional Capodimonte pieces. So when you hear that style word, you have to realize that this might be someone trying to mimic Capodimonte, and some of the marks, in fact, all of the marks will help you identify age. So some of the newer ones, or the younger ones, usually have less intricate hand painting work. But Capodimonte is really known for its sculptural style and its applied ornament. So they take and they mold and they sculpt actual flowers or figures, and then they apply it to the actual object, whether that's an urn or a vase or a compote, whatever it might be. But yes, I have seen them. Some of them are not great looking. So that's a quality issue, which is why you have to kind of remember the quality situation here. But the more of them you look at, the more you'll be able to say, oh, wow, I could see why Capodimonte is so popular. And, oh, this one doesn't look like as good as the others. So there's a lot to learn about Capodimonte, but it's a beautiful ceramic and lots of people like it. And value is there for Capodimonte. I've appraised some Capodimonte recently that's holding its value pretty well. And it's coming back. In the 1980s, it was sort of falling out of favor. It fell out of favor in the 90s and early 2000s. And now you're seeing lots of people collecting Capodimonte and wanting it. So people are saying, I don't know why my aunt gave me this. I didn't want this piece. And a lot of people do. So some of the things that you might think are ugly are actually pretty desirable on the market right now. That's right. Thank you, AR. I appreciate also your video, your super chat. Are Courier Knives reprints valuable? Okay. Now, Courier Knives have, of course, the very famous Nassau Street, New York-based color lithographs. In addition to those which were done from the middle part, like the 1860s, 1850s, all the way until the early part of the 20th century, there also were in the 1950s these reprints. The reprints were actually they got the licensing. Insurance companies in general and banks got the licensing so they could put Courier Knives prints on giveaways like calendars. Some of you are too young to remember when you went into a bank and you got something like a calendar, or you opened up an account and you got a toaster at a bank. But that did happen. one of the things that they would give out every year when you went into the bank was usually it was a calendar, and it would have Currier Ives or Norman Rockwell on it. Very, very commonplace in the late 20th century. And I'm dating myself, but you all know how old I am anyway. But that's one of the things. So the reprints were the pieces from like the 1950s all the way until about the 1980s or so. And even today, you could see some of those reprinted. They do have some value. They do not have the same type of value as the original hand-colored lithograph prints from, of course, the late 19th century. I mean, some of those, I appraised one of those of a baseball diamond, Courier Knives baseball diamond. It was almost $100,000. So, and it's a print. It's a print. So people are going, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Yeah, some of them can be very, very valuable. Actually, I appraised one that was a winter scene just recently that was drawn by an artist named George Dury and then printed by Currier Ives. And those pieces were very valuable too. So Courier Knives also, if you're looking for them, usually come in the Four Seasons. So look for that if you're looking for, of course, Courier Knives. Don't forget about the Four Seasons, one of the things that Courier Knives made famous. So the reprints can be valuable, not as valuable as their originals. Dan, thank you so much, Dan. Dan has taken a couple of my classes. We've had some video calls. A very good collector, a seasoned collector, somebody who is looking for quality and recognizes quality. I oftentimes say, for those of you who may have a different professional background than the arts, a lot of people will oftentimes say, I oftentimes say to them, utilize that professional background that you have, right? If you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're a teacher, if you're a nurse, if you're a mom, right? If you're a mom, you have a particular professional background and information that other people may not have. So use that knowledge base in your collecting. You would know more about antique stethoscope if you're a doctor than someone like me. And that's what you're seeing. So these particular pieces are actually 1960s sterling fish coasters. Hold on, I'll pick one up. And they are in really nice condition. They're a set of 12. So there are 4 here. They are unmarked. I don't know if you can see them, but there you go. See, fish. I love fish, fish. And the first fish that I caught was actually a rainbow trout with my dad. And he was very proud because it was a rainbow. And it was pretty because it was, all the colors. Kathleen, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. But these are quite nice. And these are made by a couple of different companies, make similar ones. These were made out of Chicago. So those are pretty nice. And they're in good condition. But you have to be careful because sometimes these weighted pieces, if you drop them, or they fall off the table or something, you can get a dent in them. Very difficult to get them out. So, but thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Your YouTube shorts. Oh, my YouTube shorts. I try to do the YouTube shorts, my stories. Have you been watching my stories? Well, I try to give you a little insight on my day, so if I go to the hairdresser or if I'm out driving around. Well, one of the things I have to kind of stop doing is I have to stop doing the video when I'm driving around. But usually someone is driving me when I'm doing the videos. I have to say that if I'm out. But and then, of course, some of the things that I really love to do that you probably don't know about me, I burn stuff. So I'm trying to become a better cook, a little more health conscious. I was talking to a video caller today and she's lost some weight and she said, I have a health coach. And I was so impressed by that. So I wanted to hear all about a health coach because I didn't really know those really exist. But she looked great and I was really happy for her. So trying to improve myself because I've said it many times here, I'm not perfect. So I've been working on that a little bit. So I've been doing a little bit more. So the shorts or the stories, which you can find, and I'm glad you think they're fun and adorable, are some of the things I love to do. I try to relax. I'm very, I'm one of these. I'm all always going, so kind of bouncing off the walls. I'm used to that. The pink elm. Thank you very much to the pink elm. That is a very generous super sticker, and I appreciate it. So I try to relax by keeping my hands busy. I like to crochet. Anyway, I missed somebody. Oh, that's Gula Bostabo. Okay. Is fabric etching of Stephen Murich worth anything? This is the kind of question that I mean. Does anybody else care about this? No. So I need a question, right, that will be of interest to everybody. But let me say this about fabric etchings, right? First of all, when you're dealing with anything that is mixed media, right, you have to be able to identify all of the different mediums, right, or all the different media, because media is the plural of medium, right? So all the different materials that are used, right? So basically, when you're thinking of that, an etching usually doesn't have to do with fabric. It usually has to do with paper when we talk about etched pieces. So, and yes, I would think that an original work of art by a particular artist is going to have some value. So when you say, is it worth anything? Sure, it's going to be worth something. We have to see, what will the market bear? I need to do an analysis on how much this artist actually commands in the market. So that's what we're looking at as well. So, but yes, but good question. But I like the questions that are broader for everybody else. Trina, I saw your short video of you knitting a piece. It's wonderful with wonderful colors. Well, I have guest rooms, which are never full because I never invite anybody. I'll tell you, I don't. So I'm oftentimes making, especially when the winter months are coming where I live, I usually crochet new blankets, throws, Afghans, I don't know what you call them, but whatever they are. The Shetland Islands and the yarn shops were wonderful. I thought they were great. So those of you who like to do handwork with yarn, wow, they're just gorgeous places and beautiful yarn. You just want to touch it and make a scarf or something. So I try to make things as the winter months, and I try not to go near my refrigerator because I have a food problem. I like to snack. So I try to have my hands busy with that. Lori, thank you, Lori, for everything. And I appreciate the comments. I appreciate, the support, super chats and super stickers. Carrot and Stone on Etsy. Okay, well, they're Carrot and Stone on Etsy. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate your support. And of course, I want you all to succeed, however you are a reseller or a collector or just a watcher. I had some person say, my mother really loves you and thinks you're great. I'm just a casual watcher. Okay. I didn't take that as an insult. I just thought, well, she's a casual watcher. That's nice. I'm glad she's watching, So, and I'm glad that that you folks are getting in touch because I want to hear your opinions about, of course, everything, because I like to hear your opinions. And Diane, I'm glad you liked the class. I'm very happy with the classes. The classes have been, oh gosh, standing room only, very popular. And I'm glad that the content is what you need. Everyone's saying, this is what I needed, Dr. Lori. I needed to learn that. And I'll walk you through it. And the class participants are great too. Hi, Sarah. Sarah, I found a Lladró nativity figures in a thrift store today. Oh my gosh, here comes a real bargain, people. 2 of the 8 figures' heads are broken off. 2 of the 8 figures' heads are broken off. Are the broken figures still valuable? Yes. They are part of a set. If you have the heads, now maybe you don't have the heads, but if you have the heads and you can repair them, yes, valuable. That's fine. They can be repaired. Yes, the other figures are definitely valuable. You can resell them in many different ways. And I can talk about, as I do in the class, what's the better way? Should I do a buy it now? Should I do an auction? Should I sell it with the broken heads? Should I sell them individually? Should I sell them? So yes, I can help you with all of that. But yes, I'm very happy that the Lladró figurines were found in the thrift store. I want to see them. Please send me a picture. I think they're probably a real bargain at $14.99, depending on their size, their shape, their mark, because their mark has to be a true Lladró mark and all of this. But I'm sorry any of the heads are broken off, but that does happen. And it might have happened, while they were sorting them in the thrift store. It might have happened before they got to the thrift store. But a lot of people think, oh, well, 2 of them are broken, then they're all worthless. And that's not the case. So what's the pin I'm wearing and how old? This pin, how old? I think this pin is from the 1980s. I could be wrong about that. I think this pin is from the 1990s, Liz. I'm thinking now. I think this pin's from the 1990s. This pin is tricolor plated. It is, yellow gold, white gold, rose gold plated, not solid. Who made it? I'd have to look. I know it is marked, but I don't remember who made it. I kind of think it might be a Kramer, but I don't want to say that for sure because I haven't looked in a long time. I have to confess that I was wearing this jacket earlier this week to a private event, and the pin was on it, and I didn't change the pin tonight. So I hope that's okay. But thank you. That's basically what it is. But it's from the 90s. I think it's from, or I purchased it in the 90s. I should say that. So it could be earlier. I think it's not earlier, though. Chris, how are you, Chris? Can you talk about vintage Chuck E. Cheese tokens? I'll tell you, you're going to laugh at this, but I can. So first of all, because Chuck E. Cheese is such a cultural icon for kids, a lot of people would actually hold the tokens. And being an actual kid who was a collector kid, because I had a father who collected all kinds of stuff. So, that's how he was. I followed in that particular tradition. And I have to say that little kids, because they have the opportunity to collect stuff, will collect stuff. And they end up in drawers, and they end up, they end up a lot in piggy banks. I've seen that when people will actually break open old piggy banks, they'll find the Chuck E. Cheese tokens. People do still trade them and do still collect them. So yes, you can find some value there. But an interesting question, Chris. An interesting question. But yeah, remember, kids are keen collectors. Kids don't get credit for being smart collectors, but they can identify quality easily, and they know what's hot. They know what's cool. Okay. Having said that, and then I want to talk about the hot guy that you think should be on the show with me, which I think is not a bad idea. but kids think that. Kids are very good at that. I actually was talking to on a video caller with a mom, a dad, and 5 or 6 kids. And those kids had shown me during the video call what they got when they were thrifting. And I'll tell you what, they did a very good job. The kids know what is quality. They're tuned in. You'd be surprised. And they certainly are going to be able to educate all the rest of us who aren't kids anymore about what is contemporary and what's cool right now. I am always impressed with what kids are collecting, and you should watch what your kids are collecting because they know what's going on. I'm sorry I missed something. Thank you very much to the team who is helping keep me on track tonight. Very, very busy day, exciting day, fun day, but very, very busy. So I'm sorry if I'm missing some questions here. So bear with me. But yeah, I do want to talk about that idea of the somebody said, I think you should have a hot guy, with you on the show. I think that can improve the show. No BS, no argue. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that too. And I certainly like your little profile picture of that nice tropical drink. That's always fun. But basically, a lot of great ideas, a lot of fun things that are going on here. But also, I want to figure out what we're going to do about the lives. I mean, some people are upset about, you're not doing the question of the day. I want the question of the day. Some people hate the question of the day. A lot of comments, which is really great, That's what we want. And again, if you have a comment, if you have a question, I want to see it in the comments. What is milk glassware? Hi, Toby. My local thrift store always has a ton of it. Well, here's why they have a ton of it. They made a ton of it. That's first. So production for milk glass was very, very big through the 1960s and 1970s. It is very, very popular oftentimes and collected for folks who want to have, and what's a big thing, barn weddings in the fall, barn weddings in the summertime. A lot of people will collect, of course, milk glass vases for those weddings. Very popular. You see them they can go very high. And a lot of resellers will tell me, Dr. Lori, I can always sell milk glass. Always. Why? It goes with everything. It's supposed to look like ceramic, but because it's milk glass, it's of course cheaper to manufacture. So there's that. So yes, some of it can be worth a good amount. However, because there's so much of it out there, you don't usually see high prices for it, but you will see consistent sales for it. So I hope you understand that point. It'll sell consistently, but you may not make $100, $200, $500 on one piece. So you're going to sell it consistently, but the values will not be too high. So that's what you're basically looking at. So what is it worth? It depends on the piece. It depends on who made it. It depends on the decoration. It depends on the size, on the form, and of course on the condition. Many factors. Did you see that list that I just gave you? Boom, 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 boom. Here's milk glass. Here's what you look for. That list is what you should be looking for in all of my videos, because in all of my videos, no matter what I'm talking about, I'm giving you the roadmap, the treasure map to what you should look for any type of object. So when you're watching any other channel, nobody's doing that for you. They're not. They might show you what something looks like, but guess what? You've got to know what that criteria is, what that list is of how you identify quality, how you know what's valuable. I'm going to teach you that. And then in the classes, I go one further and I teach you where do you sell that specific piece of milk glass. So you can sign up for the classes at drloriv.com under events. The pink elm, here we go. Hi, thank you for the super chat. I have Moroccan beads from a trip to Morocco in the 60s. Nice. How do you assign value to those beads that do not have any markings on them? How do I do that? I do that by one particular method. It's called compare and contrast. I evaluate 50,000 objects a year and have for the last couple of years. And prior to that, 20,000 objects a year at more than 150 events. And now, of course, on all the online when everybody sends stuff into me. If you want to send something into me, you go to my webpage. You want to send a picture to me, not an object, a picture to me. You can send it to my webpage, to my website. Right on the homepage, you're going to see three little drloriv.com, three little buttons. One button says, and it's right at drloriv.com, send photos, get report. Click that button where that camera icon is. Fill out that easy form. It's short, and it only is so I can get back in touch with you. And submit those photos, and I will help you. I will tell you basically what you have. If you need an appraisal, what to do next, what are the next steps. So yes, there's that. Moroccan beads, the way it's done, because they don't have a mark. I know everybody thinks that a mark is the only thing. The quality and the materials is the thing, right? And the condition. So a mark is great, but if you don't have a mark, there are other ways to do it. So yes, I can appraise them utilizing the compare and contrast method, which is the method that you do. And then to bring a value to it, I have to show a market method. What does that mean? Well, in appraising, there is something called the market method where you compare the market value for other pieces. So yes, this is not some big trick. It's easy to do. You just have to know how to do it and be a professional doing it. That's what I am. I'm happy to help with your Moroccan beads. Terry Ann, thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. I bought 12 crystalline wine glasses for $60. Okay. Made in France with naked ladies on the stems. Okay. They came with 4 tumblers from the same company. Can you tell me the year and what they're worth? Can you send me a picture and I'll tell you the year and what they're worth? But they're probably worth more than the $60 that you paid. I think they're definitely worth more than the $60 that you paid. When you say, do you want to tell me, can you tell me the others? I want to know, is it the tumblers you want the information about or the other stemware pieces? So let's clarify that and then I'll get back to you. But again, right at that limb. So that was not helpful. Okay. So the pink elm does not think something I said was helpful. What doesn't she think was helpful? So go ahead. Tell me what was not helpful. I have Moroccan beads from a trip to Morocco. How do you assign a value to these beads that do not have markings on them? How do I assign it? How do you, is your question, how do you assign it? Okay, you need to compare other Moroccan beads. I need to know what are the materials of the Moroccan beads. I need to know, they're from the 1960s. Are they earlier than the 1960s or they were just made or they were just purchased or acquired in the 1960s? I need to know how large the beads are. I need to know if the beads have individual strings or knots in between, or do they have separator beads? Because that will tell you whether or not they're hand done or whether or not they're manufactured using a machine method. Okay, so I want to be helpful. What else do you want to know that wasn't helpful? See, when you say something like, that wasn't helpful, well, you're not helping me to help you. Tell me what you want to know and I'll answer it. But you need to be specific so I can help you. So these are some of the things that I just outlined. Again, a list for all of you to basically go this, this, and this. And this is when I get, oh, she's rude. I'm not rude. I'm trying to get to the point so you can get the answer that you want, right? Me saying, oh, they're worth $250. I can't do that unless I see the beads or you give me more of a specific, the pink elm. And I want you to have your questions answered. I'm not sitting here for my health. I'm trying to help you. So tell me what you want to know specifically since you thought that that was not helpful. Now, if you can't do that, then I think a photo is probably your best bet. And I'm hoping that right now you are typing because I'm waiting for you to tell me specifically. Love the selling classes. Thank you, Bethany. I'm glad to hear that. Some of you are seasoned sellers. Some of you are newcomers for sellers. But I hope the pink elm is basically saying, I want to know this, Dr. Lori. Teach me this. And I will do my best in this environment to teach you that. Keep doing the lives. This is hands down my favorite show. Okay, Raquel. I'm going to say Rachel. Rachel, I hope this is your favorite show. Then you've got to show support. How do you show support? I need you to go to the videos on the binge link, and I need you to watch every video. Every video. That's right. At some time, I need you to watch. I need you to click on a video. I need you to click and watch because you're going to learn so much. You're going to say, I want to watch another. And that's what I want you to do. These lives will continue if I can. And if, of course, we see the support, right? So, but I want to see you watch the videos because the videos are going to help you ultimately, right? And that's what we want to do. Thank you. I have a ton of beads from Morocco for my trip. Okay, great. They do not have any markings. Okay, great. Teach me if they are valuable. They are gorgeous. Okay, first, right there, right there. Now, all of a sudden, it's helpful. Do you see? You have a ton of beads. You didn't say you had a ton. You said, how do you tell Moroccan beads they're not marked? So you got them on your trip. You know where you got them specifically, where in Morocco you got them. That's first. That's going to be important. Regionalism of those beads will be important. Next, I'm going to teach you if they're valuable based on their material and how well they're actually strung. Are they good looking? You say they're gorgeous. Well, the fact that they're gorgeous is not going to hurt, right? Now, they have to be gorgeous not only to you, but to everybody, right? So now the pink elm, and this is what I appreciate, because this is how we have a conversation and we get rid of the, I almost said a word I shouldn't say. We get rid of the garbage that is, oh, well, you're not helping. Oh, well, you're rude. Oh. And, the pink elm came back nicely and said, thank you, because she does want to learn it, or he does want to learn it. Pink girls. That's why I said she, sorry. So, but basically, I want you to have an understanding that this isn't something that, is like a big mystery. If someone wants to teach this to you, they will. Now, I can tell you, in museums, in the antique world and everything else, what a lot of people want is that you don't know the answer. I want you to be able to get the answer yourselves. Why am I teaching these classes if I don't want you to do that? Why am I having these lives if I don't want you to do that? I want you to understand what's what. Now, in terms of her Moroccan beads, a picture will tell me a little bit more, so I can start to drill down on what kind of beads. Are they stone? Are they clay? Are they glass? Are they, because when you get into areas like African beads and other parts of the exotic world, you basically will find that there's a lot of different materials being utilized and a lot of different methods being utilized. Hi there, friends. I recently watched your segment on Avon perfume bottles. A lot of people loved that. They loved that. I got a lot of comments about that. Are there Avon owners that have kept good value over the years? Well, what had some pretty good value was Avon soap of George Washington and Martha. So people actually are collecting and keeping the Avon soap. And I've been telling you about the colonial revival that's coming up. That you should collect colonial American pieces now to resell in 2026. Let me tell you, 2026 is going to be here like that. But yes, so in addition to the bottles, yes, a lot of people collect, of course, Avon costume jewelry, particularly the Avon cameos, which were very popular. So you're seeing that as well. And a lot of times, the pieces that, of course, are featured here or talked about by me on the channel have done well in the market. So we're seeing, again, these particular pieces, and the fact that you guys are saying, yeah, Dr. Lori, you said that, and I actually was able to sell that for what you said. It was worth. So that's a good one too. That's a good question too. Yes, I love your questions. I'm glad you like this particular exchange. That's great. Ellie Mae, thank you so much. I'm happy that you appreciate my expert knowledge. I appreciate that you recognize that I'm an expert. A lot of people use that term and may or may not should. Grainy, is it grainy? Oh, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Is it grain? I don't know. I'm sorry. But anyway, it's nice to see you and thank you for your support. And I appreciate very much you being with me. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for your support. All of you are helping everybody, not only yourselves, but everybody. So there you go. No, thank you, Dr. Lori. Okay, Christina, I don't know what you're saying no to, but no. So thank you, Christina. It's hard to keep up. But anyway, I'm very, very happy that all of you are with me. I appreciate that very much. And I hope that you will go to the website and utilize the information that is there as well. Another point I want to make, another thing I want to remind you of, a lot of you are saying, well, I watch this channel and I watch that channel. And, I've been talking about collaborators. And of course, if you have a channel that you like and somebody who you watch and you're saying, wow, that person's going to a storage locker and they don't know what they're doing. They really should have Dr. Lori help them. Or you're thinking, oh my gosh, the way we did with a great guy named Drew Scott, the Lone Fox, we did a great collaboration with him. If you have a channel that you watch and you're thinking, I think Dr. Lori really would be a great team with this particular person, a great collaboration could happen. Have that channel get in touch with me. Have them contact us here so we can do a collaboration perhaps if they're interested. So that's one of the other things I wanted to mention to a lot of you, because a lot of you are saying, I like this person, I like that person. Will you consider doing that? Get in touch with them and have them get in touch with us. Because of course, you telling them hearing from their community will of course help them too if they want to do something with us. So have them get in touch with us. We'd be happy to consider that. I think that would be, again, a lovely way for us to continue to expand. But for those of you who are here, I hope you enjoyed, of course, tonight. And we'll do more, of course, question and answers as we can. It's nice to see you. I'm Dr. Lori. Thanks very much. Thanks to all of you who showed your support in every way. The binge link is at the specials and shop page and drloriv.com. It's easy to find at the top of the website at drloriv.com. Nice to see you. I'm Dr. Lori. I'll see you next time.